Girl, you're looking good over there, my sister.
Well, thank you. I just came from giving out coats and hygiene kits to people that need it outside like 45 minutes ago. So I'm had to kind of pinch my cheeks and add a couple curls in my hair and look like I deserve to be on a show about queens, you know? So
Absolutely. We wouldn't even know you've been outside and rushing to get to us here. But we're going to go ahead and get into this interview. Like I just told you guys, Miss Tasha Mae has joined the platform. She coming to drop some gems with us on today. So you all let us know who you are and where you are tuning in from. Miss Tasha Mae, could you please let us know who you are and where you are tuning in from?
yeah, I'm actually out here in Seattle, Washington. So it's only 4:43 where I'm at. So I definitely had to set an alarm, which
Okay.
is good. I think we've kind of been in a similar network for a very long time. But my background, I've always had a heart of service. But it really began to shine when I began my pageant journey about 2008. So I've held multiple titles, but I have three very prestigious titles. I was Miss Plus America in 2010. I was Miss American Beauties Plus Elite in 2015, and then I was Mrs. Curvey Globe in 2020, which is an international world title as well. So that was just all those roles played a big impact in my people service. I've been able to kind of use those experiences and my work experiences to convert over into not just being an influencer in the beauty industry, because I also was assigned a plus size model with an agency from 2006 until present. And but I was able to utilize that and combine it with my passion to help people. And since I was 15 years old, I've always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to see women have the best and have the best of them pulled out. So I was doing little small groups when I was 15 years old, doing makeovers and doing the Proverbs 31. I had no idea what I was talking about, but I was trying to show women they can be beautiful on the inside and the outside. And that's kind of where that all began. And I produced pageants and done, all kinds of different events and things. But in the recent years, been very passionate about mental health. I had to start my own journey to healing and really just try to get that beauty on the inside to match what was happening on the outside and vice versa. And so I started my healing journey, which also then produced a book called Choose You, Change Your Path, Walk in Your Purpose. And now I'm just serving the community as a family services case manager for an amazing transitional housing nonprofit here in Seattle. But I'll also be launching my nonprofit advocacy agency, which I'm very excited about as well in the spring. So my heart is all about people, for people, and just using the platforms that I've earned along the way to do that.
I absolutely love it. Again, I would like to shout out to Washington. You out there in Washington. I'm gonna have to come visit now
Definitely.
soon. I'm gonna have to come visit. But yes, you are a phenomenal woman and you do a lot for the community. So I know they are super proud of you in Washington.
Yeah, I
And
like to think
very
they like me a little.
appreciative. Yes. Yes, and very appreciative. I know they appreciate you very well because I know it is cold in Washington right now. So
It was freezing. It was like
it,
23 or 20 something, no, 42 degree or something like that. And we were just like shivering. Oh my gosh, it's cold right now. But
yes, I understand. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, but it's not that cold. But I'm from Chicago, the Windy City, so
Mm,
you already know how that could be.
yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. So when we talk about the journey, how has your journey been so far?
Like it could be all kinds of different journeys we go on, right?
Absolutely.
From our youth, whether it's, it could be youth, it could be weight loss, it could be overcoming divorce, it could be overcoming different things. So, we're not ever on just one journey. There's sometimes multiple
Absolutely.
journeys, but I think the one that I would like to share with the queens that are watching today, is just the journey I went on to going from thinking that I wasn't worthy to a space of worthiness. When growing up, I was raised by a pastor, and I had this really overall great upbringing. And so when I became an adult and I kind of like wild out a little, I became a single mom early in life, and I began to believe the narrative that I wasn't going to be able to reach my dreams, that I was kind of the black sheep. You're pregnant out of wedlock, you didn't finish college, you're overweight, you're all these different things on top of the societal pressures of getting married and being skinny and all these other things. And so I began to feel like I was just a failure, just flat out a failure. And to offset that, I would like do stuff. So I would like, oh, I'm going to get into this and do this and do that and do this and do that. But really, I was just doing a bunch of exploits to cover up the fact that I didn't feel like I was enough, and that I felt like I was a failure because I didn't meet all these stereotypical benchmarks of success. And so many of us women think if we don't do certain things a certain way in a certain timeline, that we must not be successful, or we're not going to be successful, or it's too late. And so when I started my journey to healing in 2018, that narrative began to change for me. I had a whole coming to Jesus moment where I was like, okay, I honestly didn't even want to live anymore. I was kind of like, why am I even here? I failed at this, I failed at that. Like, everyone would be better off. But my dad, he passed away, but he shared with me one time, he said, Tasha, look, if you end your own life, you're not going to be in heaven with me. It's going to be bad for you. So, you got to figure this out. So that came back to me. I said, okay, Lord, if I got to still be here, if I still need to do this thing called life, then show me how to do it. Show me how to love who I am. Show me how to not compare myself to other people. Show me how to not look at the girl that I grew up with who has her PhD and her real estate husband and her perfect little life. Show me how to not be jealous of the people I played basketball with and then they went off to the WNBA and now they're doing this. Show me how to love who I am. Show me how to be okay with the path. Maybe the path was a little bit different, but knowing I could still do something. And so that journey, began for me in 2018, and it was real. It was like I took a leave of absence, a medical leave of absence. So something I'll share with you guys, people think that short-term disability, if you get it taken out of your paycheck, is just for physical injuries, but there's also a behavioral health component. So if you get a diagnosis that you're going through, you have severe anxiety or PTSD, you can have your wages paid through your short-term disability to go do that. So for 6 months, I took off work fully paid by my job. And I went to start dealing with myself. I went to classes. I was in every class possible. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this mental health class. I'm going to see this therapist. I'm seeing it. I got to figure out how to want to be here again. And so I really just started pouring in, became a part of different groups and everything else. But it wasn't linear. It wasn't perfect. Throughout that journey, I had some, setbacks. I had distractions, which the number one distraction for me is men. Okay. So, different guys coming in and, oh, you're fine the way you are. No, you just like the broken version of me so you can break me even more. Over time, I would say it was probably about a year or so ago, I really just kind of was coming to what I call the crescendo of my healing. And says I always used a pageant competition to kind of walk me through a season. So when I won Miss Plus America, that was the year that my dad died. And I had already tried 3 years before that, and I failed miserably, placed like second to last. And when he passed away, I was like, I'm doing this for my dad. I want to, stand up for single moms. I want to do this, and I won. The second major title, 2015, I was fleeing a domestic violence relationship. Me and my kids were living in transitional housing. I had a brand new baby. And I flew down to Atlanta, where you're at, with a brand new baby, went and competed in this national pageant, breastfeeding in between changes and everything. Okay. The baby, putting the baby in the stroller, changing into the gown and getting on the stage and then, emptying out the other boob. you know, and ended up, that was for just showing my kids that, no matter what we're going through, you can still pursue your dreams. We're in transitional housing. We're technically homeless, but I was in Atlanta competing for a national title. Right. And then in 2020, it was just a celebration of the crescendo of my healing. I do believe that we're always still on a journey. Right. But at the same time, you can celebrate those high points so you keep going. And, all of that kind of just wrapped around into now, where I'm at, where I still see my therapist. I still attend groups, because I think it's important to maintain. You guys, Michael Jordan never stopped practicing. Kobe Bryant never stopped practicing. LeBron James, he doesn't not go to practice because he's won all these things. So no one ever arrives in their journey to discovering who they are and loving themselves. And so now I'm just on a mission to make sure that everybody I talk to understands their value on this earth. And it was not easy. There's times I have doubt. I heard you reference Jesus, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. The Lord definitely has been a huge impact in this because I was trying to live life through exploits and stuff, and I didn't really include him even though I knew about him. And so the big step has been including God in my stuff, like every little thing. Lord, I think I'm going to wear this. What do you think? I'm just like treating him like he's my man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really revolutionized my healing journey. But I know that was kind of a mouthful and you may have had things you wanted to say, but I just, the words are just flowing out of my mouth. And I asked God to order my words for today. So hopefully, that journey description was able to, inspire and encourage people, because our paths are not all going to look the same as long as you want to get, to whatever the place of healing, whatever the place of loving you. People say, love yourself, love yourself. That sounds cute, but like really loving yourself, think about the things that you love. How do you treat those new Jordans and red bottoms? How do you treat that brand new car? You take time, you keep it clean, you set it apart, you wash it off, you put it in the box, you
Right.
you do all these things. So why do we not do that for ourselves? We
That's
say
right.
we love ourselves. That's not going to the spa. That's taking care of every intricate piece of yourself every single day.
I love it. I love your journey so far. I love your healing journey so far. I would just like to say you have really touched someone. I know it's not a lot of people on here, but I know someone will come past this video and be thankful and know that this is a miracle for them to even hear this, to know that she
Mm.
too has been through it and you too can get through it. I would like to say what you stated. Michael Jackson have a coach. You need these things in your life. You need these people in your life, and a lot of people don't know that they need these people in their life. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, so there's a big, stigma around therapy and around, having counselors and having mentors, and it's like some sign of weakness. But what I do is I say, look, you need to treat your emotional, spiritual, and heart injuries the same way you would treat a physical injury. So if
Absolutely.
you get hurt, your son or daughter gets hurt, or you get hurt, you're not like, oh, well, I'm just going to sit by myself and just pray to God about it. It'll be fine. I'm going to have faith. I'm going to go to the altar. No, you're going to go to the ER. You're going to ask them to look at it. You're going to have them do an x-ray. You're going to make sure nothing's broken. And if something's broken, you're going to ask them for a boot or ask them for a sling. And they're going to put you to physical therapy. They're going to give you some pain medication. And they're going to give you a list of things you need to
Absolutely.
do to get back out and be able to operate normally. Why do we treat emotional, spiritual, and mental injuries differently? We should look at them the same. So if you are hurt or you get, your heart gets broken or you have a trauma that's more emotional and spiritual, there is nothing wrong with going to the doc, going to a therapist, going to a mental health place and saying, I need someone to look at me.
Hmm.
I'm hurting. I want you to figure out what's going on and then what's my therapy pathway to getting healed. So people might be worried about they get an injury, they're a basketball player, getting back on the court, but what about getting back on the court of life? And that's what lasts. That is what you have to think about every day, and just normalizing. So I was very public about my healing journey. I still am. If I'm having a counseling appointment, I'll be like checking in to Greater Lakes Mental Health. Okay. Because what's so funny is that when people get hurt and they want to post a picture of themselves in a neck brace, oh, pray for me. I'm
Yeah,
their legs in a sling. But then your heart gets broken. You're going through something. You guys pray for me. I'm starting therapy this week because I really want to heal and love myself again.
absolutely.
That's what I do. Like, I'm like, hey, there's nothing, and what happens in here resonates. Physically, we can always be healed. We can always figure it out. You can always get a prosthetic leg. You don't get to have a prosthetic heart, right? You don't get to have
Absolutely.
a prosthetic mind. Some of
Absolutely.
these movies are crazy and they have us thinking they could, but they can't right now. Okay. You
Absolutely.
know, and so just understand you only get one heart, one mind, one spirit, and treat it as such. I only got one. I can't replace it. So I'm going to go all in for myself in that area.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you should. You only get one of you, and that's what I tell everybody. You only get one of you. You got to take care of you. That's spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. It's only one of you. So
Absolutely.
I love it, Queen. I love it. And again, I want to thank you for coming on this platform and being so transparent with us.
I gotta be. I want a real life. So I gotta be real with y'all.
Absolutely. This is real life. And that's what Queens Who Empower Queens are all about. Letting these queens know that this is real life. Yes, you're going to go through something. You're going to go through this thing called life. You might as well buckle up and get ready for it.
Absolutely.
So I love it. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Mm. Well, I guess on paper it was pretty nice in the sense that my parents met and married in college, and they both kind of had their backgrounds, and so they made sure that my brothers and I had everything that we should have. Okay, but there were some challenges. We my nucleus family was safe, but you know. Some people in my extended family weren't, which unfortunately we had to find out the hard way. So at a young age, I did experience some abuse by extended family members for about 7 years. And that was very hard. I mean, at the time, I didn't really know how to process it. I was told this is what you're supposed to do to feel loved. I was very confused. And I didn't even realize it was wrong until I started as a kid doing things like with my brother. I didn't know what I was doing. And I would get like, Tasha, what are you doing? I'm like, what? I thought this is how you show love. And that's when, my family, my parents began to realize what was happening to me. And, it did impact me because the only real area that I struggled in was relationships with men. And that was where that came from. I think we try to say, oh, it's childhood, get over it. That was a long time ago, but those are the foundational years of our life.
Absolutely.
You have to think about it. Like a tree grows like forever, but where you plant it has a lot to do with the longevity of that tree, the health of that tree, the strength of its trunk, the type of wood it has.
Absolutely.
It could have been planted a
Absolutely.
million years ago. It doesn't matter. The how
Absolutely.
it's planted, how it's fed, how it's cultivated, the roots that it's in completely impacts the rest of its life. And so, it was probably not until like the recent 5 or 6 years, 4 years, I've been able to really openly talk about that. And I do address it, in my book and how it impacted me as a young woman. But that also began the performances. So I started performing, meaning had good grades. I was captain of the basketball team and this and that to
Wow.
try to offset how I felt about the things that were happening to me. And it perpetuated through my adulthood. And I think that's relevant to the people that are watching. I think, ladies, when things happen to us, we start to overcompensate. We start to try to be better moms and better workers and open up a business and start something. Honestly, people usually start something because one, they're ready to and it's exciting, or two, they're trying to offset their pain and they're trying to put something positive out there because of what's hurting them on the inside, what's hurting them at home, what's hurting them behind closed doors. And so now I take what I call public pauses. If I need to work through something, I have a whole graphic that I put up on all my social media. Tasha's taking a 30-day public pause, and I will not be like, so don't email me, don't text me, don't do nothing. And I do that. And I don't care if I missed the fashion show. I don't care if I missed this networking event or that thing. If it was meant for me, it's going to be there for me when I get done. And I might even extend it and not tell you. Oh, is it
Absolutely.
over yet? No,
I love
I'm
it.
still healing.
And
So
that's what a lot of us have to realize. And that's one thing that I realized in my life. What's meant for me is always going to be meant for me. So I'm not trying to chase nothing. If it's for me, it's going to be for me. If it's 1,000 years from now, it's going to be for me.
absolutely.
Big
Absolutely.
point. I love it. I love your story. And can I ask you, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I want to know how old you think I am first. Because
I'm going for
the kids
somewhere
I
in the
was
30s.
volunteering with today were like in shock. So I want to know.
I would say you about 34.
I'll be 42 in a couple weeks.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yes, I'll be 42 in a couple weeks. I have a
You
20-year-old
are
and a 22
looking
year old.
beautiful, my
I
sister.
got 20-year-old children.
Oh wow. Yes, they yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, I know. The kids I was volunteering with today, they're just like, what? I said something to them and they're like, what? I'm like, oh, you guys are too young for that. They're like, what do you mean? You're young too. I go, oh no, you could all be my children. How old are you? 42. They're like, what? It was
Wow.
hilarious because some of the guys were like,
A
oh,
blessing.
you could be my mama. Yeah, back up,
A,
little guy.
a blessing. Let's- we just gotta thank God for that blessing,
Amen to that.
and I just want to thank God for allowing you to be here to come on this platform and share your story with us because someone out there needs to hear it. I
Yes,
know someone out there is going through it and may not think that they can get over it, but for you to come on here to be so transparent, so I know someone is hallelujah over there. Hallelujah, Jesus.
yes. I pray so. I pray so.
Absolutely. What keeps you motivated?
Whew. Honestly, myself. I know that sounds
I
weird.
love
So it used to be other things and other people, oh, my children, or oh, my passion, or oh, this. But that was because I didn't understand the value of my own personal existence, right? And of course, everything is through God. So God already knows He's the first for me. But as far as a tangible thing, it's me because I actually like myself now. So the motivation is, Tasha, you get to get up and be Tasha today. Who do you get to love on? Who do you get to serve today? Who do you get to, like, I don't even know how to have a weekend not doing something. I like hitting up friends, like, you need a volunteer, you want to do this? Like, that gives me life, you know?
Absolutely.
So really, I feel like I have a second chance at life because my first 30 something years, I was really in bondage from my childhood trauma. I was in bondage from abusive relationships, all these different things that I've been able to work through since 2018. So now it's almost like walking with the limp for all your life. And then they fix it and now you can walk straight. It just makes you want to walk through everything again. Like, let's go. Now I can see what it's like to just walk
Yeah,
normal. So
absolutely.
now I'm like literally just, it's me. Like the excitement of operating as a healthy person is ecstatic for me. So when I wake up every morning, I thank God. I open up. I've been actually on the Daniel fast this last 14 days, and it's been powerful, changing my life. But I'm like, man, I love waking up with worship music, talking to
Yeah.
God, like, what's happening? That's how I talk to him too. I don't be like, oh Lord, you are the head of my. He already knows who he is. So I don't even go into all that. Like, I'm like, you already know your name, you know what you do, you know what you're capable of. So let me just go ahead. What's up? Like, what's up, Jesus? Thanks for waking me up. Woo! Like, so
Absolutely.
but I used to not be like that, ladies. And every day used to not be like that. I used to dread, like, oh, am I here again? Like, or, oh, what's going to happen today? But now it's in, you know, him that I live and I move and I have my being. And I'm so like this energy, this joy. What's the word, the song say? This joy that I have, the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Like,
Okay.
I finally figured that out. Like, wow.
I
And it's
love
just
it.
been an amazing thing, and it took me almost 5 years in my intentionally working to get to this point. So if you're not there right now, ladies, if you're not there tomorrow, that's okay, because 5 years ago at the beginning of this thing, I was like, man, you woke me up again. I wanted to be in heaven. I was dreading waking up, and now I can't wait.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You seem so positive, and I know you
I
are
am now.
42 years of age, and I know it's a lot of young princesses out there that may dread getting up, or
Mhm.
maybe going through something, some type of trauma that we do not know of because they might be scared to talk. What advice would you leave here for them today?
Mm. um you know, the fear of reaching out is very strong. It is there for a lot of different reasons. It could be there because, you know, I'll speak to this. I know that you have all demographics watching, but I know in the Black community, systemically, we're taught what happens in the house stays in the house. We don't talk
Absolutely.
about our problems. We don't. And that, you know, not to get into a history lesson, but that is systemic from slavery, right? Like, you could get beat to a pulp and they wanted you just be quiet, go in the cabin, fix them up so you can go pick cotton tomorrow. Okay, like they didn't care. You don't get no counseling. You don't get to stop crying or the master's going to beat you more. Like, that's where that came from, and that's not healthy. But that's where that came from, and it passes on. Yes, slavery was X amount of years ago, but just like your great grandma's recipe still is cooked today, so our systemic pains and traumas that happen are passed through as well. But now there are so many more. There's actually networks, which I can provide you guys the link, where you can look for African American therapists, African American substance use disorder,
Yes.
like, you know, all like my therapist and my SUD, because I did have some challenges with alcohol when I was trying to cope with some of my pains, are both Black. Reach Beyond Counseling. Okay, my codependency group leader is Black, and Washington is only 6.7% Black, you guys. So if I can find one, I know you guys can.
Yes.
Right. And
Definitely.
so, you know, finding someone that you feel like you can relate to, right? And there's therapists for everybody. Another resource I'll say to these young ladies is that either at your school, and they're bound to confidentiality, so if you don't want to involve your family, so if you're 18 and under, you can go to your school counselor and you can say, I would like to, you know, have some therapy to talk, and they can arrange it during school hours. So if you think you would get some clapback from your parents or your family, they have to give you confidentiality, and they can arrange for you to go out of class for 30 minutes or an hour during the school day where you can get that additional support, and your family doesn't necessarily, unless you're, you know, threatening to harm yourself, there's really, they don't need to know about that. And then for adults, you know, if you're working, almost every single employer has a employee assistance program. Okay. You may have, okay, I think it's EP, employee assistance program, EAS or EAP, sorry, EAP. Almost everybody has it. It's free. You are able to get counseling your first 6 sessions absolutely free. Your job, they have to let you off to be able to go to these therapy sessions, and they help you find a therapist. So like for me, I literally put in, that's how I found my therapist, my most current one. I want a Black person within this zip code that has this type of stuff. It took them 2 weeks to find them, but they did.
They did. That's good.
And, so those are just like more practical resources. I mean, I can give the warm fuzzy of like, just believe in yourself and just do it. But sometimes people need actual practical steps. I can give you all the warm fuzzy in the world. You're going to have this group. You have this amazing leader that I'm talking to right now who's going to give you every verse and everything. But sometimes we need practical steps to how to do something. And so, that's a resource for people that are, younger than adults, your school counselor, and they're bound to confidentiality to provide that opportunity for you to see counselors. And then secondarily, if you're an adult, there is the employee assistance program through your job. If you're looking for a pathway to be able to speak with somebody, and just start there. Like, and if there's no pressure, you don't have to do it. You're not paying for it, and you're also being able to select the type of person that you want to work with, someone that you feel that you can relate. So those are just like more practical resources. I mean, I can give the warm fuzzy of like, just believe in everyone to do that. And just think about it. I'm hurting in here. So what would I do if I was hurting on my ankle? Ooh, I would go to the doctor. Right. And then validate yourself by saying, you know what? If I'll go to the doctor for my ankle, why in the heck would I not go for my heart?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I was going to get into our game that we just started this year, but I'm loving our conversation.
Oh,
And
like a game.
I had another question from you from what you were saying. You said you had to get some help for alcohol.
Yes.
I know we have people that need help. They rely on alcohol to fix these traumas and these past experience. What advice would you leave here today on this platform for those people?
Yeah, for me, it was coping. I started very late in life. I didn't even care about drugs, alcohol. I told you my thing was men, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had my first drink when I was 33 years old. So not very long ago, not on my 21st birthday, not when my dad died. And guess who introduced me? It was a man. And he came with all the accoutrements. He was the first guy that hadn't been to jail. He was tall. He had an engineering degree, a house, and 2 cars. And I'm thinking, he's perfect, And so when he told me, you need to kind of loosen up, you're a little uptight, here's a drink, I was like, I didn't want to lose the opportunity. And now, of course, hindsight, I see how that was bigger picture, a show of codependency, but I did it. And then when he began to abuse me and cheat on me and things like that, I remembered the feeling of that alcohol. Ooh, it kind of numbed me. It kind of made me not care as much. So then I started drinking to numb out the pain, right? To drown that out. And that's how that dependency began. But to answer your question, no one just wakes up saying they want to just start being a drug addict or start drinking or start doing any of those things. Usually it's because there's a pain. It's usually they try it and then you notice it does something, right? And so those things are natural. Those things are normal. But being able to replace that stimulant, right, with tools and things once you start going through healing, so
Absolutely.
you have to with substance use and with those kind of things, the mental health and that have to go hand in hand, because someone could tell you just stop drinking, just don't do this, don't do that, cut out one drink. But if you're not actually addressing, again, getting back to the matters of the heart and the mind, you're not going to ever find a reason to stop or find a reason to make it, more social and in moderation. In the beginning, I really was like, oh, I'm just going to get down to being social drinking, which I did. I pretty much was doing that. But through this fast, because I haven't been drinking at all, and I'm like, God, I think I'm getting back my youthful contentment without needing it. And that's just my own personal thing, right? And so, you know, if that is a struggle of yours, a substance use is a struggle, whatever type of substance use it is, the first thing for me is actually getting connected to somebody that can help you start walking through your traumas. Absolutely. And walking through your triggers, because you can start some treatment program if you want to. But, you can start running, like I said, you could start just wrap up your ankle and start running up and down the court. But if you don't actually go to find out what's wrong, and you don't actually go get your ankle adjusted and get it fixed, it's going to re-injure. It's only going to get worse. And so that would be the first step, is connecting to that therapist, connecting to a support group, and then start reaching out regarding substance use. If you're like, you know what, I just noticed I'm doing this because I'm trying to cope. I'm doing it because I just want to disappear. I'm not doing it just because it's fun and it's New Year's Eve. I'm doing it because I actually don't like myself and I don't want to think about anything. And start getting the parallel assistance about why you don't want to think about anything, what's causing you to feel that way. And as those things start getting healed, your reliance will start to fade because you don't need it to do anything because you're actually healing through it, right? So
Absolutely.
that's it's the hand in hand is so important. You really can't treat one without the other.
Absolutely. I love it. I would like to give a shout out to Miss Lisa Crawford. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching us. Miss T Lee, we have some more users on here. I would like to say hello to you guys. Miss Lisa Crawford would like to say thank you for sharing your journey with her, Miss Tasha, and great recommendations.
Mm.
So last but not least, this is the last question that I have for you on this evening, this wonderful Saturday. I'm sorry, you guys.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I got a lot going on. Yeah, I got a lot going on. But okay, last question for you on this platform on tonight. With the knowledge that you have now,
Mm-hmm.
well, let me look at this. With the knowledge that you have now, from one queen to another, what advice would you leave here today on this platform for another queen to protect her throne?
Ooh. Hmm.
That's the big question now.
I like it though. I like it, and for me, because the way that I think, I want to first kind of define what I believe. The throne is, right. Your throne is your space. It is you, but it's almost like your home. Okay, and
Exactly.
it's your home, and so all the things, the protections you would put in place to protect your home, like locking your door, not having hazards, making sure the stove isn't left on, things that could possibly make it destroy or destruct, right? If you have an alarm, setting your alarm, all of those very things. You'll notice I use a lot of practical parallels of what you need to do with you, right? You're not going to just leave your personal door unlocked. You're not going to just leave things on, that are susceptible, that are extremes that could possibly burn you down, metaphorically, right? And so treating you and your sphere like you do your physical home, protecting it, keeping it clean, making sure you're purging, making sure you're looking that everything is working and everything's in order. And if it's not in order, whether it's your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body, you're getting it in order.
Yeah,
If the toilet's clogged, you might plunge it. If it don't work, you call a plumber.
that's right.
Okay. So if there's something that's deep inside and you can't get to it with surface remedies and
That's
just
right.
affirmations and, good jobs to yourself, then call upon a specialist to help you dig that out. Right.
Right.
So I again would say, to parallel how you take care of your home, your physical home, how you take care of your actual spiritual and sphere of influence home. You don't just let anybody up in your house. You don't just let people walk up in your room. You don't just let anyone sit at your table, touch your dishes.
Right.
You are far, far more valuable than a stationary home. You are so much more valuable. So, learning and choosing to protect you the same way you would protect your physical home times 10 is how you would do that. And I'm telling you, I've learned, like, it's literally to a point where, like, I don't know what's that lady on TikTok say, like, if I don't want to do it, get somebody else to do it. Like, I'm on some get somebody else to do it.
I
Or
know
I'm on the
that's
other
right.
trend where it's just like, no, 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 no. Like, and I feel A-okay about it. Okay.
That's
Like,
right.
A-okay. If it
Absolutely.
doesn't make me feel good, if it doesn't make me happy, if it takes away my peace, that would be a no. Right. I'm not doing that. If what you're going to walk in, you saying, okay, someone has muddy boots and they want to come in and walk on your hardwood, you better take those shoes off. Well, I don't want to take my shoes off. Then you can't come in. You need to treat your body and your heart and your soul and your mind the exact same way. And people got drama, AKA dirty boots. They got gossip, AKA dirty boots. They got negative energy, AKA dirty boots. You don't get to come up in my house.
That's right.
You don't get to come in on this. You don't get to even come and look at the throne.
I
Your
know that.
shoes ain't even right. No, I'm not doing that. Okay.
I love
So and it's okay. Like, who cares if they're like, oh, well, you're being, absolutely I am. It's who else is gonna do it? You ain't gonna protect me.
absolutely.
It's okay. There are 7.8 billion people on the planet who I'm sure that you could choose from to infuse your negativity into. I'm just not going to be one of them.
That's right. I love it. I love it, Queen. I love it, Queen. As you all could see, Miss Tasha Mae came and dropped so many gems on this platform. She was so transparent with us. She came on and told us her story, what she's been through, the past trauma. When she needed someone the most, she went to go get the help that she needed, you guys. So don't be afraid to go get the help that you need. Don't be afraid to go get the therapist that you need. And don't be afraid to go get a specialist, you guys. Keep going. Know that better days are coming, you guys. Don't give up no matter where you are in life. If you feel like you don't want to get up in the morning, talk to God. That's the number one person that you talk to, and He will see you through everything. I promise you. I promise you that. So again, I would like to thank you, Miss Tasha Mae, for coming on this platform, being so transparent with us, dropping those gems on Queens, who empower Queens.